This is not a dream.
Hello, welcome to Friday Night Files. If you're listening to this, it will be on the Interdimensional Voyagers. You can catch this on YouTube on Dogman TP Hunting. Thank you very much for being here. We've got an amazing guest on. Wanted to have this guy on for so long, just so long. Absolutely, so lucky, so lucky. Hope you've all had a good week. Hope we've had a profitable and healthy week. Enjoyed it. Me, on the other hand, it's just been work. It's been terrible, but I won't bore you with that. But yeah. But other than that, I shall bring up our amazing interspatial hostess with the mostess, the rock and roller of podcasting, Natalie.
Hello.
Did you like that?
You're starting to catch me out each week with the intro.
Yeah.
Last time I was golden and I wasn't feeling very golden, and this week I'm a rock and roller, so yeah.
Yay. Yeah, I won't do that because people think it's like a satanic thing, but yeah, no, it's it.
Well, that's the problem with rock, isn't it? It's not far off. So you're sort of making all these symbols and you're thinking, am I actually contributing to some giant spell somewhere?
Yeah, I know, that's the thing, isn't it? And there's a lot of it's all from it. There's a lot of bands coming out now which are predominantly kind of like on the darker side,
Well, Black Sabbath started it, didn't they?
Yeah.
It goes farther back than recent times.
Do you know that was my first ever record, wasn't it? That was
really?
My first ever record. Yeah, Black Sabbath, Paranoid. Believe it or not, it would be, wouldn't it? Paranoid. Yeah.
Mine was Adam and the Ants.
Was it?
Yeah, I was a goth even when I was 5.
Oh, blimey.
I was just like, that was my first ever album was Adam and the Ants.
Prince Charming.
Yep.
Was it Prince Charming?
Yeah, one of them was, Prince Charming.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah.
that
No, I
dance
remember
that
going
they
into
do.
Woolworths. Oh yeah, yeah. I used to like Adam and the Ants. He was all right, you know. Yeah, he was okay. I liked him. And later on, I liked Duran Duran. I was a bit sort of glammy like that. I quite like Duran Duran. You know, Wild Boys and all that. Yeah. So that's good. You had a good week. Mine's been shocking.
Yeah, aside from being constantly damp and miserable outside, it's like, oh yeah. No,
I know
I
you
need
must have
to.
some wellies and a half. You must have some wellies and a half.
I was thinking the other day, it's like I've got more raincoats on the back seat of my car so I can change them out. It's
Mm,
like throughout the day because you just slowly get damper and damper and damper. And it's just like, and then by the end of the day, you're like miserable. But yeah, I
yeah,
could do with a little bit of drier weather for a week or so, if nothing else. But
yeah.
it's the UK for you, isn't it, really, though? We're
Oh,
just a
no,
giant
tell me about it.
sponge,
Well, this
basically.
winter's been awful, just
It-
absolutely awful for wetness and wind. You know,
Yeah,
I
that's
was
true.
talking to my
Things
guests
haven't been.
before, and just the wind we've had is just like terrible. You know,
Mm,
wind and
yeah.
rain. Oh, we got some news as well, haven't we, Nat?
Yeah, we do indeed.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll let
We
you
have.
read the headline.
Okay, yeah, we've got some news. We have started for this show a uh, a Patreon page. So if people want to go see the Patreon page and Patreon site, they can. It's going to be just dedicated to this show. So you know, we're going to have bits and bobs up on there, which we can't sort of discuss on the show. We're going to have kind of like little essays on there about our views of different stuff going on. I know Natalie's got something planned in the near future about autism and stuff and the paranormal. I've got a few things as well that I'm going to be putting up on that, and also we'll have some exclusive videos and video footage and other bits and bobs as well. So yeah, we're quite pleased with that. I'm pleased we started that. You know. Right, okay. So that's the news over. I'm gonna think. Should we bring up our guest?
I think
I
we
think we
should.
ought to.
Look forward
Yeah,
to
that's right.
talking to him. We might as well
Everyone's
bring him
on.
on.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's bring up our guest. We've got Mr. Mike Smith. Hello.
Hello, I'm glad to be here. I was enjoying, you guys are great. I was enjoying listening to that. So,
Are we?
Thank you. We
Yeah.
do waffle
Yeah.
on, I have to admit, if we're
We
not
do
careful.
waffle.
oh, wow.
Yeah, we do. We do tend to. We're good at waffling, aren't we, Nat?
Yeah,
Yes. Yes,
I'm
you
gonna
are.
it's a
just.
skill.
I know it's rude of me. I was going to alter that light because that light is kind of like it's just facing the wrong way, and I look like I'm constantly in dark shadow. I didn't think of it before. I think one of the dogs must have got up there. Okay, right, all right, and then I'll just turn it up.
We haven't warned you that we're a very professional podcast, have we?
Yeah,
Hey, one thing's correct. Like I was worried about I hate overhead lights. So I've just got this lamp blaring in my face, but I can't sit here with the overhead lights on. So I understand. Yeah. Absolutely.
yeah. And see, I'd never used to get on with fluorescent lights. I used to just, because
Yeah.
I know a lot of like public buildings used to have fluorescent lights, didn't they? And I just
Mm.
couldn't. They used to give me a headache. Awful. But
Yep.
they vibrate, don't they? There's a vibration to the light. A very sort of. I think LEDs are the same, but it's a different frequency. I don't know whether it's any better or not. But
Well, I did a lot of office work, selling office products and things, and I learned early on in the computer generation, the old monitors, if they vibrated, you had to keep them vibrating the same as the fluorescent light, or you could see one or the other, and it was causing a lot of headaches and things. I solved a lot of problems, and then actually sold a lot of stuff, being in offices and hearing somebody complain, and she said, "I think my screen's flickering. Let me fix that for you because you can change it. You can get in there and change it."
yeah.
And yeah, so yeah, I made some money off that little tidbit right there. But it's a real thing.
Yeah, because
Okay,
I
we got
have
that
trouble
one.
with the LEDs. It's like
Mhm.
the LEDs drive me insane. I hate
Mhm.
them. I
Yeah.
mean, I've got the little lights on. I can just about tolerate the LEDs in the small light bulbs, but the overhead lights, that's why I don't have the overheads on, because I hate them.
Same here.
Absolutely hate them.
Yep. Understand?
Yeah, so it's like, but you're right, they do flicker, don't they? And I think the LEDs flicker it. I'm okay with the fluorescent light in the kitchen now. The irony, it's like I'd rather be in the fluorescent lights than the LEDs now.
Yeah.
But I just find the light sort of, even when you get the warm tones, it's like they still hurt your eyes very, very quickly. I don't know how the office workers manage now with the well, there's a combination, isn't it now, really, of everything?
Yes.
Yeah, and the screens with the blue light. But yeah,
I'll tell you what get me. So I'll tell you what my gripe is. Right, this is my. I want to do it anyway. I want to tell you this. Right, and I like a bit. So some people think I'm only truly happy when I'm miserable. Okay.
We're English. We're allowed to be miserable.
But we are British. So we like being a bit sort of like, oh, the queue's really long here, isn't it? We like being a bit like that.
Right.
But LEDs when you're in a car. Now, I'm in a bit of an old car. Okay, I haven't got one of these like kind of like high up Hyundais or the Kias where they're quite high up and the headlights are quite high up, like SUV type. But when I come across those, because I've got basically my Citroen, okay, looks like it's got 2 candles for headlamps. All right. It gives. I mean, I drive using very much with my sixth sense and my gut, because I can't see bugger all out the headlights. Really, high beams are better, but normal lights, no.
Yeah.
But when these cars come towards us, and I see the Citroen is very low, and when the cars come towards us, their headlights are usually just eye level, and they are blinding. They burn my cornea. Honestly, it's like they can burn my corneas out. They're so bright.
Yeah.
Do you have that in the States? Do you have that?
Oh yes. Now I drive a Jeep Wrangler, and my wife has a Jeep. We're a Jeep family, and I've got of course I'm from Kentucky, so I do have a big lifted up 4-wheel drive pickup truck. But I did used to drive it as a Ford Mustang, and it was sitting down, and I get migraine headaches since I was 8, and light flashes and light changes are one of my triggers. So yes, we get it. And here they have like the ones that have a bluish or purplish tint.
Yes.
Oh, that drives you extra nuts, because you're not supposed to. I've never seen that on the road, and it's just no.
It's like full spot. It's like you're being interrogated while sitting in your car, isn't it? It's just like, I had to get night driving glasses to try and reduce the glare of it, because it was just like you say, you're driving down the road, see perfectly fine in the dark, then all of a sudden it's like flashlight in your face. But so I'm glad it's not just me. My mum was like, "Oh, you're just getting older," and I was like, "Gee, thanks."
No, definitely not. No.
So you're turning 22 then. 22 is what it was, right? Yeah, I got you.
Exactly.
And there's another thing which goes with that as well. Sometimes behind me, when I look in my rearview mirror, which is also pretty crappy, the rearview mirror, right? It's quite a crappy car, really. But and I look in it, and it's like kind of just like the tiniest ever mirror you could ever fit to a car. The rearview mirrors. Right? I'm looking in it, squinting. And the lights, like you said, the lights are kind of like got a bluish tint to them. So many times I thought, oh no, I'm gonna get tugged by the old bill. The police, it looks just like a blue kind of glow, and I think, oh no, it's the cops. Here we go. But it's weird, isn't it? How they kind of got that tint to them.
Well, they're all LEDs now, aren't they?
They are.
So again, segging back to the LED thing. There's my friend was saying that she's not convinced that all of a sudden we're seeing night driving glasses being sold in all the petrol stations and things, and she's like, "Why do you think that is?" And I was like, "All LED lights, and no one can see anything." So, So we're saving the environment with the LEDs apparently, but now we all can't see anything.
Yes, it's not saving our corneas, though, is it? No.
Being blinded.
How have you been, Mike?
I have been good. I know we were talking earlier. We had an ice storm here and shut everything down for about 2 weeks.
Oh,
And
wow.
I'm not gonna. I would prefer that over the rain and the things you guys are talking about. So I'm not gonna complain. But I had to work a little, but being part of the school system, I
Yeah.
got some time off. We were all shut down, and I'm just now getting back in the groove of things. But doing very well. I can't complain.
Good.
Oh, it's good
Good.
to hear.
And everyone's healthy in the family. Everyone's good.
Oh yes, oh yes. We're all. We got out and we actually got out and did a little hiking. We're 30 minutes from the land between the lakes.
Oh,
Mm.
wow.
20 if I drive fast. So it was nice to all get out and be able to do some hiking and do some stuff. That's what we try. It's a family endeavor with us. So yeah, we're blessed for sure.
No.
Yeah.
It's nice when you can all get out on the trail together, isn't it? Rather
Oh,
than
yeah.
like you having to go solo all the time. It's
That's
like,
right.
yeah, get them interested in being outside as well, because kids spend far too much time on on the Xboxes and everything. So it's nice to have them in the fresh air.
I created a monster over the break. So I'm surrounded. I own 5 acres. I'm surrounded by over 100 acres of field that a farmer, and it froze, and it was a full moon, and so we went out and did some sledding at night.
Oh, wow.
And I've got over 100 yards. Now, it's bigger than a soccer field, so it's and my 10-year-old daughter I had to go out every night between 9 and 10 o'clock and do 30 minutes worth of sledding for about 2 weeks. And
Oh, wow.
I loved it because like you said, a lot of kids would want to be inside on her iPad or doing something. And she was ready to get out, even in the dark.
Oh, kudos to her. I bet it was better in the
Wow.
dark as well. It's like, I can imagine that was more fun.
Yep.
If people at home, if you want to check out some of with Mike's, let me get it up. Mike's Facebook, easy to find. Okay. Now I'm gonna the links are down in the description. Okay, but he's got some great. Who's that cheeky girl?
Yeah, look,
I lost her first tooth
that's
today.
Layla. That's my 6-year-old. She lost her first tooth yesterday, so we were celebrating that. You got to put everything on social media nowadays. So
Yeah. Oh no, she's so cute. She's so
Yeah.
cute with it.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. If she wants any spare, I got 3 false teeth myself. If she needs any spares,
Okay.
I can post them over.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
yeah, this is Mike's Facebook. So what's this? Oh yeah, I remember this. Let's have a
Yeah.
look.
Yeah. But that's Layla. She beat her.
Trying to get it in there, eh?
Yeah.
All right, get it in there.
Rock frame challenge.
Right.
Oh, almost.
And that would be so cool.
All right. Well,
Yeah. Layla
Baby.
won it. She won. There's my wife.
Mine up there.
it did?
No.
All right.
I'm gonna crash out.
Go, go, go.
Oh, that was so close. Ready? Here we go.
No.
Oh, you gotta put some arch on it.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to turn this video off and show you how to do this.
Oh!
And then there she goes. Yep. Yep. Yeah.
Oh, close. Put some in there, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. We all ended up being able to do it. But yeah, that's we're pretty simple. That's what we do for fun. So,
Yeah. And you're not at all competitive, Mike, are you?
a
I'm gonna
little-
put
a
the video
little bit.
down. I'm gonna
know-
show you how to.
You guys will appreciate this maybe a lot more than some of my audience. I don't want to stereotype you, but I've coached soccer here in the state of Kentucky for 25 years. Out of the active 500 coaches that coach every year, I'm in the top 20 as far as wins. And a guy from Manchester, England, taught me about everything I know. So,
Wow.
I've applied that competitiveness to where I can actually, benefit others through it. But yes, I'm very competitive. Absolutely.
Wow.
It's not a bad thing.
Did you did he have quite a Manchester accent? Did you understand him?
He did. And it was so funny. His name's Dean Short, good friend of mine. I think he missed the rain because he moved from Kentucky to Seattle. He's in Seattle now. So I think he Missed that
I
rainy
was going to
environment.
say,
Yeah.
that's probably
Yeah.
the closest to damp climate that he's going to.
Oh no, he was great. He taught me a lot. We got to be really good friends, and yeah, just a really great experience. So
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
I sometimes have trouble because like they have understanding because like their accent's so kind of and I'm a bit apples and pears, elephant and castle bit like that,
Yep.
bit Dick Van Dyke if you like, Cool, blimey, Mary Poppins, so it's if I have to put Google Translate on a lot of times, when I make
Gotcha. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. It was more, I told him it was James Bond-esque. That made him feel good. He sounded like Sean Connery. Yeah, the Sean Connery, James Bond. That's what I told him he sounded like. So.
And he believed you.
And it was his favorite. He actually even drove the little BMW and everything. He thought that was, I didn't know that, but yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
I bet he was pleased with that.
Where were we? Why have we got you on, Mike? Oh, I know. Yes, Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Right now, okay. Because you had a very personal encounter with Bigfoot, didn't you?
Yes, absolutely.
Right. Can you sort of just remind people, because I'm sure a lot of people have heard this, but can you remind people what actually happened? On that event and how it made you feel?
Yeah, well, and we basically, and this is on there. I always give credit to a guy named Charlie Raymond, who answered a phone call, called me back at 11 o'clock at night after this, because I don't want to use the word trauma, but it changes things. It just all of a sudden, so many emotions. Am I going to be safe in the woods? Is my family going to be safe in the woods? Do they mean to harm you? And I don't think now they do. The Bigfoot anyway. And then is it, what's this real? Is this stuff I've been thinking is myth and legend and fictional is now real? Am I going to sound crazy? So all those emotions, and Charlie did a great job. He actually, it's on his YouTube channel, Kentucky Bigfoot Research Organization. He calls it the Beast of LBL. What made it even better was when they stayed overnight a few months later, they got the same knocks. Everything with our experience started with some tree knocks, and he got some howls and had these analyzed. And I mean, I told y'all before the show, I'm so thankful I've had witnesses for all this stuff, because I still think, am I nuts? Am I crazy? But on that day, the family was out. We had just gotten a nice boat and had a great day the day before. And so it was May 10th of 2020. And I thought I heard walking. We like to build a campfire and cook dogs. And we were on the bank. A ridge was behind me. I thought I heard walking. My daughter, I've got an older daughter. You saw the two young kids. I've got a 20. She's 22 now, and my son's 28. But she was with us. She was 16, I think, at the time. And she asked, what happened to those people? And I said, I don't know. Let's get out of here. I didn't pay much attention. And as I'm going to push the boat off, we hear a knock, just a clear, just like you've heard on the Bigfoot shows. They all look at me. So it was my 16-year-old, my two young ones, and my wife. What was it? I said, it's just those were kids up there messing with us. That's what it was. So I looked down, found a stick that I knew would be good. When I knocked down the bank from a different direction, an immediate knock. Immediate. And you're just like, okay, we're going to go down there and see what it was. And, it turned out Charlie doing some range finding, when he came back, the water was lower and we didn't get the exact measurements. And of course he edited the show, but we think it was about 68 yards away. When I saw it, we get 80 in the video, but we put a guy up there in the spot where this thing was standing. It was just standing there. There's a spot where the sun comes down, your eyes. I was so thankful that it was still there when we went several months later. They're like, right, you could see it. And man, this thing, I mean, it heard us talking. I think I think it understood that I could see it. I think if I'd have not made a sound, I think it would have just stood there. I've come to know we're being watched so much more than we realize. They're just watching. But when I said that, it stepped back and I turned the boat and it moved this way. And then when I turned the boat to come out, it was trying to get away from the boat. And then it came down and it was I was 38 yards away from it. And we think there was two of them now. And then the thing is, we drifted down the bank after it ran off. It had kind of followed us, we think, because it screamed. My wife and my daughter heard this guttural, frustrated, just this scream. And they were honestly scared. And it's huge. It's just, I've said before, it wasn't the height. So I'm short. I'm only 5'8". I actually grew 8 inches after high school. So I was the quintessential late bloomer. So everything's tall to me. So the tallness wasn't. It was probably about 8 feet tall. But we're in the era now of 7-foot basketball players, big guys. It was the width of this thing. They're 4 feet wide at least. It was just you're not used to seeing. And then the speed of this thing, they ask why you don't get pictures. And, we understand how fast a human is, even the fastest ones. And our eyes will naturally track from habit. We do it with birds. We do it with cats. We automatically, okay, I know how fast this thing should move. And you may not realize it. It may be subconscious. But the speed of which these things move, we're not ready for it. When you're looking 20 yards, it's 40 yards. When you're trying to look 40 yards, it's 80 yards. And so those two things, the speed, but it was so quiet. And it just glowed. Is that the word? It glowed through the, and it was just so massive. And and then we've had several more experiences. Again, I don't think if Charlie Raymond had not taken me in the woods and with him and showed me some stuff, and we talked. I'm a Christian. I could do a whole nother show on the things that God has done for me through nature, through being out in the wilderness. I mean, I will start crying that the God of creation has reached down in my life personally. And didn't need to. I don't know why I deserved it. But so that's
amen, brother. Amen. Yeah.
That's how connected I am. I was not going to be out of the woods, but I was also not going to be putting my family in danger. And so that was my quest. And now my only motivation with this is to share this with people. It's real. You need to prepare. You need to know what's out there. You need to know the safe places, the not safe places. And you need to know that some of it's bad. Some of it's bad. And so that's my only thing. We were actually looking in that video. I've got a theory about areas in Land Between the Lakes where they may pass through to the different sides in the two different lakes. And I'm checking where there's culverts that are they big enough for a person to walk through, or would you have to crawl through? So that's why we were actually going to that culvert where the water was coming out. We were just going to see if, because some of these in Land Between the Lakes, I've been to almost all of them now. There's only a few that are big enough to actually walk through. Most of them are the crawl through stuff. So we're all committed. I don't know if that answers the question, Phil, but that's, that was the first time. That was the first time for me thankfully I've turned it into a blessing. It's turned into a blessing, and it allowed, and I love the connection. It allows me to meet people like you guys and just share the story and get it out there.
No, amen to that, brother. Thank you. I just want to ask you, it saw you, did it? You could see that it was watching you.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think now there were two of them, and I really think this single knock, it was a warning. And I think there was one here. I think they must have smelled the smoke and smelled the food. It was near a campground, so I think they're perfectly capable of hunting their own food and thriving. But the low-hanging fruit and easy meal, I'm not going to say they're not against being around a campground and getting some free stuff. But so I think the one on the ridge realized, wait, there are people down there. I don't think they want to be seen. And so I think that knock was telling the other one, the one that I ended up seeing, hey, there's people down there, chill out. And then I think when I knocked, it got mad. I think it was mad because then it responded, and now the gig is up and we see it. So I think it was just mad that we actually saw it.
How
And
do
it-
you know
and
it was? How do you know, Mike, that it was angry? How do you know it was angry?
because of the fact that I believe it followed us to make sure we were leaving, and went ahead and screamed and yelled. I think there was some frustration built up there. It was trying to run away. The other one, and my 16-year-old daughter, she's in the video on YouTube as well. She was able to see it shaking trees, and I thought at the time it might have been pulling itself up. But now I've realized the other one was shaking a tree, trying to distract. There's always two. Now I've got now 5 years under my belt in this particular area. I'm not claiming I'm nowhere near an expert. You know, there's guys. Barton Nunley's one that's just like a legend and is one of the original pioneers to me. Martin Groves that we talked about that's going to be in the documentary. These guys have been out know way more than me. But you do get a level of comfort and knowledge from just being out there. And I think they run in pairs. But I think it was just a frustrating event. I think maybe they were hungry. I think they had the smell of food. We call it hangry. I mean, if I haven't eaten and I think I'm going to get a Big Mac, and then all of a sudden you get in the way of me and my Big Mac, I might be out of character as well. So I think it was just that. And had it not followed us and we had not heard that scream, I might not have said the anger, but that's why I really think it was a little frustrating.
Do you think it's possible that they were hunting and you kind of accidentally interrupted them somehow? Or do you think it was literally they were just attracted to?
I think that does happen. That is one of my biggest prohibitions from going out at night. I don't do it a lot. I have taken groups. I like to stay behind the scenes, really. I know I've done a lot. People ask me, I'm always willing to help. So I do take a few groups out and do some of that stuff. But we were out on a peninsula, and there was really not, if they were hunting, they were probably expecting us to push something from the peninsula towards them. The way the terrain was right there. And that's kind of been my expertise, the way I was raised by a military man. Is terrain features and things like that. I don't think so in that case, but I do think that happens.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yep.
For the UK people that are watching, can you the land between the lakes? Basically, what are we talking about? Is it like two land masses and then the lake in the middle? And is it the land masses cut off from each other?
Yeah, it's and you can see it on a map. If you look on a map of the United States right there, Kentucky kind of in the middle. There's two rivers that run actually north. They actually run west and north, the Cumberland and the Tennessee. I think part of the mystery of this place has to do with the way the rivers flow, and it creates some type of vortex. I don't know how deep you guys dive into the elemental things of the paranormal, but you have two rivers running basically contrary to most of the other rivers. They're running north. Then you have the Ohio that's running down, and then the Mississippi. There's only a small section of land, maybe 100 miles or so, that does not have a river running to the east. If it did, you would have a complete vortex, and that may be happening underneath the surface. So after the Great Depression, and in part for the war effort, a lot of people get this wrong. As part of the New Deal, Franklin Roosevelt created the TVA, the Tennessee Valley Authority. They said these hydroelectric plants and these dams were to make power, and they do a lot of good. They do a lot of good coming out of this ice storm. That's where we get our power. However, like in our case, Calvert City and Paducah that are just below these dams were going to be used to process metals for the war effort. So the military aspect of this area has always been involved. So they dammed first the Tennessee River, and then they dammed the Cumberland River. They made everybody move out. Some of the people had to move twice because they moved them from the river floor up into land between the lakes, and then when they decide Kennedy in the 60s, so this took 30 or 40 years. Kennedy in the 60s said it's a recreation area, everybody's out of it. And so you have this strip of land. It's about 80 miles long, or 40 miles long. I'm sorry, 40 miles long, 20 on each end. Basically, there's a main thoroughfare running through it, Highway 6880. In the middle of it, it's called the Trace, and you basically got quadrants. It's about 8 miles long and it's widest. So people that are used to being out, it's not remote. I've been up in Appalachians and done some things. It's if you pick a direction and walk and can get yourself moving, you're going to hit a road or a lake. Which for me makes me wonder, why do so many people go missing and why there's so much trouble? Because it's not as remote. It's wild and it's scary and it's mysterious.
Yeah.
But there's 4 quadrants there, so that's what you see in that peninsula. That it used to be called Between the Rivers. It's always been called Land Between the Rivers because, of course, those rivers always flowed that way.
Yeah.
And they even almost connected naturally. Now there's a canal, a man-made canal that connects them now. But man, it's a neat. I'm so fortunate. I've got memories of being there regularly, starting in the 1980s, and when I was in 1980, I would have been 8 years old. So it was so that's that area. That's why they call it Between the Lakes. And again, on a map, it stands out. You can see them. You can probably see them from space. The Great Lakes will take your eyes. You see the Great Lakes up north, but if you look down, you will see Kentucky and Barkley Lakes right there on the map.
Okay.
Yep.
How close is it to the actual sea? Is it close?
Oh,
100
well,
miles?
I don't know the exact mileage. You can drive down to Florida in a day. I think it's 12 hours. It'd be a 12-hour drive. So whatever the mileage is there, 6.
Okay. All right. So it's a fair ways. So I'm just wondering.
Yeah, it's right in the middle there. If you look at Midwest United States, right by the Mississippi River, it is right there. So it's quite a ways from the ocean. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. No, I just wonder because sometimes with water, when there's a high salt content, salinity content, and it can react with a lot of the rocks, especially if the rocks are granite, quartz, something like that. It can create a lot of energies that way. Water can. And it seems to be like an amplifier. That area does. It almost seems like an echo space for that type of thing. And even portals. It may be like
everything you want. And I'm again not an expert in the paranormal. Even starting from ley lines, I know the original idea of ley lines. I believe the gentleman, I forget his name, but it was in the 20s. Now if you look at a ley line map, it's all over everything. Everybody's got a ley line. But the original map, there was one very close. I mean, you can't. I have not heard a paranormal phenomenon I cannot relate to the Land Between the Lakes. You've got the Native American tribes coming together, sacred for burial grounds, sacred for hunting, supposedly agreements between them to not necessarily settle permanently, but just use it as a hunting ground. You've got the water, you've got the ley lines, you've got the iron ore. That was the iron ore industry was huge. They mined it. You've got the moving of graves and cemeteries and the disturbing of sacred ground. You've got the military. There's UFO stuff, of course, that's associated. I've personally seen the orbs and had people with me that I was with a group of 6 people that watched the orbs. So
you sent me a photo of an orb. I'm just going to put it up now. This one.
Yeah.
Where was that taken?
Now, actually, that was just right outside the Land Between the Lakes in a place called Wadesboro Cemetery. We heard something walking towards us. I took that behind me and just took that with an old original Sony digital camera. And unlike, so I did a little paranormal stuff. I will tell people, I don't want to hurt your feelings. Most of your orbs can be debunked. They're water vapor, bugs, dust, things of that nature. And this is the only picture that I have ever taken that I would put out to people as a real, actual spiritual orb. And if you zoom in on it, you can see it glowing. So I took that picture. We didn't see that. We heard whatever was associated with that making physical noise. And then when I looked at the pictures later, there's a Masonic symbol on this tombstone. I forget the gentleman's name on that tombstone, but that's why we were there. And
okay. You broke up. Can you say that again, Mike? You broke up just then.
I said I believe there's a Masonic, a Freemason symbol on this tombstone. There was one in that cemetery. So that cemetery, the town of Wadesboro,
mm-hmm.
was the land was purchased. I believe the guy's name was John Wade, from Native Americans, and this is probably 7 miles from Land Between the Lakes. And it was purchased as part of an agreement to put a land office. And so before St. Louis, you've heard of the Great Western Expansion and the Oregon Trail and all the American history things.
Yeah.
Before that, all the land grants to go out west prior to St. Louis occurred in this small little town of Wadesboro. A lot of people don't know that. And so my dad happened to have a farm in that area, and we knew there was some weird stuff. So that's why it was Halloween night. I had a group of about 4 people with me that we just decided to go out and do some ghost hunting. So
it's quite a big orb as well, isn't it? When you actually compare it with the gravestone, brain's gone. You'd say it was probably about that wide, wouldn't you? About a foot almost.
Yeah, it was sizable. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it did look big. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we've seen similar. I'd say I didn't see that one, but if I have to give an example of what I have seen in LBL, very similar to that. The ones in Land Between the Lakes, they glow more because I think they're farther away.
Okay.
Or I don't know, you get into cloaking and how much of these things do they want to reveal to you? There's so many rabbit holes, man. And I thought it was neat, Phil. You put the reluctant guardian of the Land Between the Lakes. That is so accurate, because I really just want to be fishing. I really just want to be fishing. And it's like this stuff has found me, and I feel like I've got a duty now to share it. But yeah.
Yeah, I have to admit, sometimes I sort of regret seeing things in the woods, because I would like to just go for a walk.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then I'm like, am I looking into the trees too much? Do I need to keep moving? Do I keep my head down now? And yeah, it does.
Right.
It does complicate things quite significantly. But you say you've seen orbs in real life then, not because this one was caught on camera. You've actually seen them with your eyes. Are they all the similar color? Have you seen them different colors?
So the ones that I think are associated with spirit energy, and I did not share this. There's a it's on my Facebook. I've got them in my house, and I've got them coming over my head and going into the wall. I've got one that appears to come out of my neck, goes into my shoulder. And what's neat about it is the camera is stationary. There's no fans. There's nothing moving. And I've got 2 different videos that are showing this. So I believe that was connected to human, spiritual, soulful energy. And I think maybe the colors maybe determine that a little bit, because yes, those are always that bluish color. The ones in LBL, you start getting red, white, more maybe UFO, interdimensional kind of stuff.
I've seen a purple. I'm only asking because I've caught a photo of a red orb before now in a very, very old church, but I've actually seen with my eyes a purple orb about this big. And it's so, but like you say, when you see the photos, they're usually the bluish or the whitish.
Yep.
So yeah, I was just curious. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. But I associate orbs with like spirit very often as well, because I think I've said before on a previous podcast that a sphere it's one of the most energy efficient shapes. So I think the reason why we tend not to see ghosts in human shape, you know, as a full body apparition is because the orbs are easier just for the energy to move around.
Yeah.
Like you say, or it's how it manifests to our eyes. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, I do think there's something to it.
I agree.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mike, in your opinion, is the appearance of orbs anything to do with energies which could be manifested into a Bigfoot?
Yes. And again, so I was with Charlie Raymond and took a group out. This was the first expedition I went on after my sighting, and he had it in Land Between the Lakes, and I was the guest of honor because I just had the fresh sighting, less than a year removed. And he took me with him. We went to a cemetery, and I had to share with him that I'm sensitive, so I can see shadow people, apparitions. I feel it very strongly, but I also can see it. So I look back in this cemetery, and I see this thing, and he's like, "Is it Bigfoot?" And I said, "No, I've got to." And this is the first time we'd met. We'd gotten to be friends over text and Facebook. But I'm like, man, I'm gonna run this guy off. But in that same instance, we were back there checking this thing out, and it turns out there was a tombstone back there. The guy had been murdered in Land Between the Lakes in the 30s. He'd been shot through his window while he was eating lunch or supper. But we're back there, and just where the terrain gave us a good look through the woods in quite a distance, we see 3 orbs coming. And so he asked me, he said, could those be headlamps or hikers? And I said, Charlie, I know right where that is. They would have to be 40 feet above the ground for us to see them if they were hikers. That's something different. So they come in, they disappear. A few minutes later, we get on our comms from base camp that someone had seen, we've had a sighting. There was some people casting a print down at the bottom of a hill on a road. The base camp was here. They had lights down here, and the people at base camp were able to see this thing go across the lights. I take another guy with me, and we actually circle around to go down below this thing. And he had not seen the orbs. His name's Ray. He's a good friend of mine. So me and Ray are down there, and we're talking about this. And all of a sudden, we hear in the woods the samurai chatter from the Sierra Sounds. Ron Moorhead, who's going to be in this documentary, a legend, captured. We hear the and so the best I can tell, there was 3 verified, if you agree that experiences or verification, but there was 3 verified subjects or targets in that area right after we had seen 3 orbs. And I've had a few similar other things and heard accounts where people will see 2 orbs, and then there was coincidentally 2 creatures. 1 orb. Coincidentally, later there was 1 creature. So I think there's a huge. I hate to believe it. It would be great if this thing was just flesh and blood and real simple, like a bear, and we could just all learn to coexist. They're interdimensional, and maybe not all of them. I tend to think. And stop me if I'm rambling or you guys have any more questions.
No, go carry on.
If you believe in the Nephilim idea from the Bible, where something would be half other dimension and half human or half worldly, you would then have to safely assume that these things will have needs and abilities from both worlds, because of coming from both worlds. So that to me explains why they would, if I was an angel or if I was an interdimensional creature, why would I be hanging out on Earth so much? You got to expect. I mean, it's a cool place. I love it, but you got to expect there's way more. So that for me, that's how I dealt with why would they have to be here, and are there those? And then you get into the well-known energy you just mentioned, Natalie, about paranormal. It's like they can gather their energy and they got to be efficient with it because they'll show themselves. They'll have a 5-minute burst and then they're gone. They got to gather up more energy. That's why your batteries drain. That's why people get drained. So, maybe some are better at managing that. Maybe some are stronger at that. Maybe some are weaker at that. So they're bound here a little bit because they haven't learned to develop that interdimensional idea yet, or that ability yet. But there is something they are. I have got a great friend of mine right off on this journey. I found a print. Jeff Meldrum, God rest his soul, actually looked at the video of it in an email through a guy named Brian King Sharp, and he determined he thought it was a print, but it wasn't a Bigfoot print. Michael Chandler, a guy, a friend of mine from high school, was with me, and kind of honest, Mike, I don't know if I believe you. I've known you your whole life. I know you're not. Let me go out with you. We're out an hour, and he thinks he's finding his own track, and it was. And then we're looking at this, and something sounded like something jumped off a ridge. And I said, Michael, there's 100 yards of open woods. We get right here. We're going to see this thing. It was just great. We go there. There's nothing there. We heard 3 or 4 good steps, and it's gone. It's gone.
It's
So
unnerving. When you get that, it's unnerving, isn't it?
Is it great camouflage? Is it that their hairs are different and they can manipulate their? I mean, I'm open to any explanation, but in those explanations that you have to add, did it just vanish into another dimension? You just have to, in my opinion.
That's the difficulty with the Bigfoot phenomenon, isn't it? It's like something that seems so real and so physical, and then suddenly isn't. Like you say, your brain's just like, I can't. You can understand the concept of ghosts because they're not physical. You can understand the concept of bodies because they're physical. But to have something that's, can just go from one to the other and back again. And it seems to be the only logical explanation that actually makes sense, but we can't explain it at the same time. That's so right. It doesn't make sense.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, it is something. Yeah, it is something that I've been pondering on a lot just lately, and I can only agree.
Yeah.
I mean, the one I saw in the woods, I don't even know what it was, but it was a good 10 foot tall. It went across the path, and I literally sort of like stood there watching it, hoping it didn't turn and see me. Didn't make a sound, didn't leave a footprint. It went through the woods where it could not have physically walked.
Yeah.
But I saw it, and it was real. And it's like you say, because I went back a few days, once I stopped being scared, and I couldn't, I was like, there's no way it could have walked through this bit. And that is exactly where I saw it, because I watched it for several seconds, so I know exactly where it was.
Yeah.
And like you say, the only explanation I could come up with was that it was walking through the world, but not of the world, if that makes sense.
I'm going to steal that quote. That was a great way to phrase that. Absolutely.
Yeah, I can't think of it any other way, to be honest. It's just it doesn't make sense otherwise. It just
does not. And then you start, and I'm of this opinion, and I don't want any of my friends or fellow researchers to take this the wrong way. We see most of them, with the exception of some mistakes or some things we may not know about. In my opinion, we see most of them and interact with most of them at their leisure. They are in control. They are in control. They know when we get out of our cars, and I do it too. I chase through the woods, and we have started a group. It's called Pathfinders. We're going to try to do a few different things with the stereotypical research model, to try to corroborate more evidence and establish some patterns and document things in a little different way. And I'm excited about that, but I'm not under the delusion. They're in control every way, physically, spiritually, emotionally, mentally. I think they're on that level. I really do. And I always have my success, and I consider it a privilege that I've got an area where I can just build a fire, sit down, and a lot of times one will come in, usually within 100 yards, and just, every couple times a year, just let me know it's there. I've never had one wave. I've waved at you. I have, but they're there, and it's nice. But nobody's ever going to get one hearing a sound at night and chasing it down, unless they have decided this is the moment I'm going to be the one that submits myself.
Mm.
Again, in my opinion.
Mm. Yeah, because that would make sense. You know, when everyone says that we don't find bodies and things, I suppose if they're sort of largely incorporeal, if they did die, it's possible that their form would just disintegrate or dissipate, or, like say, switch back into whatever dimension it's also residing in, and that's why it doesn't leave. Yeah, it doesn't leave as much behind.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you know, and it took so many years. I think they've just now recently found chimpanzee bones, known animals. You don't find many bear bones. You know, most people operate less than a mile off of standard trails, roads. Most people, probably 90% of outdoorsmen and recreational outdoorsmen, you're not way off in it, and you're not where something's going to go to die. It took me. I had a little cat that disappeared, and I knew it. You know, like animals, they go off to. It took me years to find this guy. He actually crawled under my chicken coop, and when I was tearing it down, I found this little. It was he was a bobtail cat. He didn't have a tail. And we called him Bob, and Bob just went under there, and he curled up. He curled up, and he was gone. It was sweet, but what I'm saying is, if they know these areas where people aren't going to go, they probably can't get. They're not. Bones will dissolve, be eaten, be totally carried away by the forest, and reabsorbed into nature. Sometimes within 30 days.
Oh wow!
So it's not. And again, Charlie Raymond's got a great time lapse video of that, where a guy purposely killed a deer, left the bones there, and put a trail cam on it. 30 days, totally gone. So, by carried off, eaten, insects, weather. So I'm never swayed by that. You know, like I say, go find a chimpanzee bone, go find a gorilla bone, go find some bear bones. You know, especially these people that do all this from the. And again, I'm not getting on anybody, but there are these people that, from the safety of their couch and the safety of the internet, want to get on and be the experts, and
the armchair rangers.
I'll leave it to them, and I do it. You know, I watch a good soccer match. I watch the Premier League. I watch a good match probably at least once or twice a week, and I'm coaching, and I know I can't hold a candle to any of those coaches. I just need to shut up. These guys have been doing it at the highest level for so long, but I'm sitting in my bed. You should have done this. You should have had him here. You know. Anyway.
Yeah, no, it is a fair point. I think because that's the thing that used to annoy me a little bit about the paranormal in general, was like when people sort of are debunking it, and I'm like, and as bad as it sounds, it's like, you weren't there, man, you weren't there. And it's like, when you're there, it's a completely different. You, like you say, a lot of the time, you know when there's something there. Like when you're in the woods, you know something's watching you, even if you can't see it. Exactly. And it's just like, you cannot explain that experience to someone, and if they haven't had it, they just will never understand it.
Exactly right.
You know, so I stopped trying to argue with them after a while, because I'm just like, you know what, like everyone says, I know what I saw, you know, and I know what my experience is. And I always say about, like, when everyone's like, oh, you know, it's a trick of the eyes, and it's like, I use my eyes all the time while I'm awake, and my eyes don't normally do that. It's like, so, you know, this is an anomaly that I've noticed. It's like, so why would I, you know, but yeah, it is a difficult one to try and explain to people. And like you say, everyone's got an opinion, even if they've never left their room.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. No,
there's a very strong relationship with these Bigfoot and with Dogman. These cryptids with the paranormal world. They share quite a few traits, as I see it. One thing I would ask, when you do the documentary, because you've got a documentary planned, haven't you, with Ron Moorhead, Ethan Oates,
Martin Groves.
Martin Groves as well, isn't it? But lay down a because I believe that these entities, when you see them and then you don't, and they disappear. I believe that you are on the right track, but I do believe that they run on a different velocity. They run on a different time frame to us. Okay. And that's why we see them, you know, kind of like passing ships in the night almost.
Yeah.
So we see them when we're directly
Yeah.
passing, and
Yeah.
then they disappear again.
Yep.
When you're out doing it, put down, and for anyone watching this, if you feel that there's something around where you are, and I'm not saying you should go out at night, okay, you have to be quite loony really to go out like in the forest, but use a high intensity LED, sorry Natalie, LED torch, but get one which has a strobe effect on it.
Yeah.
Okay, now with the strobe effect, before you use it, time it. It should say on the instructions the duration of strobe, you know, how quickly it strobes.
Yeah.
But get that first of all, and then lay that down. So get 2 or 3 of them, but lay them down, all the same make, so they're all the same. And then when you do see anything, it will give you a natural time frame on your camera when it's being recorded. If you see anything and it's passing, that then will give you a velocity, how quickly it actually is going, because you've got the strobe,
Yes.
which is firing off at a set predetermined.
Yes.
Yeah. So try that. It does work.
I will.
I've tried that before.
Nice.
I think these going back to the paranormal, you just briefly, you before this, did you have anything in your younger years which you would consider to be paranormal, something you couldn't understand, something which was more of a supernatural nature? Have you ever had that?
Yeah, the biggest thing, and I don't know that I've shared this before. I used to, and so I wasn't raised in church. I'm a Christian now. My dad took me out, and he would just say, and he's a Christian, he would say, "Son, if you think this is all coincidence from an explosion of a big blob in space, you need to get a little smarter. You know, you were mistaken." And so, you know, the outdoors was my church. That's where I connect. Now, my dad was one of the original members of Delta Force. And
Oh, wow.
the guy, you know, it's so funny. The guy that started Delta Force, Charlie Beckwith, he was inspired by the SAS in his time with the British Special Forces and stuff. So I was in that environment. My dad shared some things about having feelings and knowing things. And but from a ghost paranormal standpoint, I always felt like somebody was with me. I actually named him Alfred after Alfred Hitchcock. I had an Alfred Hitchcock book, and this thing I used to see standing behind my door. And then we're talking when I was 10 and 11 up in Washington, D.C., in a town called Woodbridge, Virginia. It's a suburb. And I told my mom about it, and she's just like, okay, you can have an imaginary friend. You're a little old. Yeah, and that's what I was worried about. I'm like, I'm a little old for this imaginary friend, and I don't think it's imaginary. But we didn't talk about a lot of that. I think my mom, she passed away a few years ago, and I hate it because I think she was an atheist at best. It just wasn't a part of her life, and to the point where we didn't talk about that stuff. Once I got married for the first time, I'll tell you the thing that opened my eyes. My grandfather passed away. I had talked to him the night before and told him that he was going to be a great grandfather. I'll cry again. So where I worked, I'm going to call her a secretary. She wasn't, but she always answered the phone in our office. I did this treatment in a factory for people with repetitive motion. It's like physical therapy, to make it simple. And I was trained to do that. And the phone rang, and I looked at her. I said, Tina, I'll get that. And she's like, what? And I looked right at her. I said, my grandfather died. And he did. And I went home, and I'm sitting in my bathtub, and I'm crying. And my grandfather, man, a nuclear bomb could go off in our front yard, and my grandfather would have said, it's going to be okay, guys. He was, I mean, very Christian, very Christian. I didn't realize until later he kept a journal how much money and things he did for people in a town called Covington, Tennessee. He just kept it quiet, so humble. But so I'm crying. I'm sitting in the bathtub, and my wife's there with me. She heard it, my ex-wife, and I hear Michael. She heard it too, Michael. And I said, okay, that's my dad. My family calls me Michael. I said, okay. I said, babe, that's my dad. Will you go open? He heard, go open the door. When she comes back, she said, there's nobody there. About that time, we hear Michael. And I said, well, he went to the back door because you weren't fast enough to get to the front door. I wasn't in a great mood. She goes back there. Nobody there. And then for a third time, we hear, hey, Michael. So I'm like, I'm going to have to get up and let my dad in. There was nobody there. There's nobody.
Right.
There.
And
so
you recognize the voice. You absolutely recognize that voice.
Absolutely. So I'm like, all right, that's my grandfather saying, you know, we had talked about this. This is part of life. I'm still with you. It's just a different way. So then, you know, so I've always been into it. I've always been interested in third grade. Here we've got a local legend here called the Bell Witch in a town.
Yeah.
A little south of me. I remember in Clarksville, Tennessee, in third grade, we had to do a book report, and I snuck into the section of the library we weren't supposed to go as third graders, got this book, and wanted to do my report on it. The teacher had to ask my mom if it was okay if I read this book, and she's like, yeah, that's fine. So I was always interested. So my ex-wife actually, right before we got divorced, decided we just needed to get away, and she wanted to do this paranormal thing. She was into it. Ghost hunters. We watched ghost hunters, but it was all her. And so I got this trip set up. We went to the Bell Witch Cave. We went to several places, but one of those was Waverly Hills.
Waverly Hills, yeah.
And so I did my research. I had changed batteries. We bought 2 brand new cameras, one Canon Rebel film, one Canon Rebel digital. This had to be around 2009, 2000. No, wait. It's later. It was 2004, 2005. And we go to this room. I'll tell you, I had to change batteries. And I tell people this: if you go to Land Between the Lakes with brand new batteries and they go bad, do not throw them away, because when you go home, they're probably going to work. I'll save you some money. And that was the same advice I got at Waverly Hills. So I had changed out batteries. Both cameras were on the fritz. We get to that room where the nurse supposedly hung herself. I take the digital camera. The film camera was working. The guy said, you know, I was raised by a guy that was always prepared. I had my own flashlight, my own safety kit. I wasn't trusting anybody. He's like, buddy, you got a flashlight. Look, I'll stay here with her. Go up this landing, go through the door, up this landing to the next floor, and I'll bring her up when we get this picture. Because the rest of the group had gone ahead. Some of her sisters had actually met us in Louisville, Kentucky, and were in this group. But I'm by myself. I open the door, up the landing. When I turned to the little flat spot, something grabbed this digital camera, tried to pull me over a rail. I catch myself on the rail, push myself back, literally catch my camera in the air, just hit to get the flash to go. There's nobody there. I take a second. I stay along the wall. I go up. My sister-in-law, and we had been married, 8 and had dated like 10 years. So she was family. She knew me. She said, Mike, what's wrong, man? And I said, let's check my neck. Huge red mark on my neck. Yeah. When I got home, those 2 pictures came up black screen, and it said unrecognizable format on the screen. They're to this day the only 2 digital pictures I've ever had that didn't develop. And I don't know how common that is. I'm not in that world, but that jumped me. I'm like, all right. And much like Bigfoot, I wanted to understand this more, because now I realize this is real and it can interact with me physically in my life. I got to know how to deal with it. That's just the way I was raised. I got to be the guy that deals with everything. So that actually helped me with Bigfoot. I think had I not had those experiences, the way this Bigfoot Dogman stuff has gone, cryptid stuff has gone, would be different for me. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. And you know, any loss does hurt, and I do feel your pain. God bless you. And it's you know. So, but always remember, I always think this, you know, that they're never truly dead if they're remembered. And I think you know you've done you've done Granddad a justice. You know.
I appreciate that. And I will tell you. I'll tell you one more if we've got time. This is the thing with me. I don't take it as a sad thing. So I don't know if you've been on my Facebook. I play piano and guitar. I sing a little. I don't claim to be a singer, but I have been able to play the piano. I play by ear. I can't read music. I don't understand music. I can just hear sounds and make them. And when I had a cousin, and I'll do it again. I had a cousin that was like a brother to me, and he passed away unexpectedly. He's a decorated veteran, 2 Purple Hearts, Bronze Stars, PTSD. He dealt with that with alcohol, unfortunately, when he came back, and that's what got him. But the song "Over the Rainbow" was special to us and his family and his mom. And his mom, here I go, asked me to play it at his funeral. And I couldn't do it. And it's the only time I've really asked God. I believe when we're true servants of Jesus and God, we get in that servant role. And I actually feel bad a lot of times for asking for stuff personally. And because I believe if he's called me to serve, he'll give me what I need. But I asked him, I said, God, I can't do this. I cannot play this song. He had heard me. I had put it on YouTube when it was so funny. When he was in Iraq and Afghanistan, he said, Michael, my group of guys, we either want to be playing death metal on guitars and listening. When we go out, we're ready for the 5-Finger Death Punch and the Black Sabbath and the Ozzy Osbourne. He said, but I can't tell you how many of my guys want to listen to you sing "Somewhere Over the Rainbow" when we get back from the mission. I went back there, guys, and I played that. I don't even remember it. I just asked God to take over. I don't remember it. When I sat back down, my ex-brother-in-law said, Michael, he thought I went to the bathroom. He said, you just missed the most beautiful rendition of "Somewhere Over the Rainbow" I've ever heard. And I said, Anthony, that was me playing that. He was like, what? I said, there's a piano back there. That was me playing it. But ever since that time that I connected that music and that, I don't know. I'm not going to be arrogant enough to think Jesus is with me right now. But it overwhelms me. The tears aren't sad. It's since that moment.
Yeah,
I opened that door and it's there.
Yeah.
And that doesn't make me special. I'm not saying that, but I can't control it. Yeah.
No, I get that. I get that. And, you know, it's in a way, you know what? It's a happy thing.
Yeah.
I know it seems weird, but it is I find it's a happy thing because it's, you know, when someone's life is cut short prematurely, yes, you know, I get it. It's not, you know, it doesn't seem right, and it's not, you know, a happy thing. But I always think, look, we don't ever remember being born,
right?
When we have that spark of light, which God gives the sperm and the embryo, and then and that's the Holy Spirit coming in and growing that child. We don't remember being born, and we certainly don't remember leaving this place.
Right.
And I think, you know, I don't ever ask anything really of God, you know, because He's given me anyway, enough grace to know that, you know, when I go, I'll be in His arms when I go.
Absolutely.
So, you know, that's enough really for me. But, you know, for other people, I sometimes, you know, I do sometimes, like, I pray. Yeah, I pray for other people, you know, sort of like, but no, you know, I appreciate that. And it's a nice thing. It's a lovely thing.
Yeah.
And I tell you what is nice as well, Mike, is the emotion. And that brings me on to another thing. Do you think that these entities make themselves known to you because, like a lot of people, including myself, believe it or not, beyond this rough exterior lies quite a heart of mush, really. You know, I've got a soft old heart.
Yeah.
I am quite emotional.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the reason why I think it's selective. The paranormal and these cryptids and entities, they're selective who they show themselves to. Do you think that's that I'm barking up the right tree or wrong?
You are, and I don't, at the risk of, I don't want to act like I'm special. You know, my dad said to me when I went to him with this, and he's a late life. He's 70 years old. He's had a stroke in the last few years, and he's a late life paranormal believer. Even though he's connected, he knew it. He didn't want to process it. But he said, Michael, if this thing is as fast as you said it is, and it wanted you, it would have gotten you. And if it's here now, it's been there forever. And strangely enough, he's like, you know, I see him now in my life, and I've been in the woods since I can remember. Maybe I wasn't emotionally, mentally, and spiritually where I needed to be for them to reveal themselves to me. I think the first sighting was one of those accidental things, and I think those do happen. But subsequent to that, I feel privileged, and I tell people I don't know why. And there's probably people listening here, and there's some people here. I've taken a fair share of people out with me, and they've hit the woods as a skeptic, and they've come out and they're like, man, this. I don't know why I see more, and I feel more connected, and I have this sense, but I do. I don't know why I catch a lot more fish than other people, but I do. I don't know why I can play the piano better than a lot of people without ever studying it, but I can. And so, you know, I do, to answer your question. Yes, I think all the events in my life and the things that have happened, but definitely accidental or not, when you connect with these things, and I think you put it on one of the promos, and that's when you connect with these things. Martin Groves, I've never heard Barton say it, but I'm sure Barton has said it in those two. Once you connect with these things, it's like you're marked. And I tell you, I have tested it. I go to other states, and I've said this before on some shows. I'll test it. I'll get this feeling all of a sudden. My wife will catch me. We'll be driving up to New York, where her family's from. We'll be in Pennsylvania, just on a road, and she'll say, "Do you think there's a Bigfoot on that hill? You got that look?" And I'll look it up on the Bigfoot researchers, the Map Moneymaker site with the logs all the sightings, and it won't just be in that county. It'll be on that road that we just went over. I tested it here in Kentucky. A guy named Don Neal, great guy, behind the scenes guy. People here in Kentucky, if you know Charlie, you know Don, awesome guy. And we came to a spot, and I told Kara, I said, my wife, Kara, I said, I think there might be something right there now. I'm calling Don. So I got him on Messenger, and he got me right back. He said, Mike, we just had recent sightings not a mile from where you are, probably within sight of where you just crossed. And I don't know why. It's not me. It's not. But I have learned to understand the feelings that I get when that happens. And that's coming from that end, and I approach it that way. There's sometimes, again, my Pathfinders group, my guys that are on here, there's sometimes I feel bad for us being out there with all the equipment, because I know they know we're fixing to chase them, and I kind of feel like sometimes they might be disappointed in me because they know I know better.
Yeah.
I mean, really, I do feel that connection, if that answers the question.
No, it does perfectly. And I perfectly understand. Absolutely perfectly understand and relate to that. I do. Yeah. What do you think, Nat? Do you think that people are more predisposed if they're, if they have stuff going on around them, or cryptid sightings? You think they're more sort of predisposed to it because they're maybe tagged or somehow emotionally connected with these things?
I don't know which way around it is, but you definitely get tagged. Because I mean, I like I say, I started with the entities and have ended up with the more sort of like whatever it is that's in the woods around me anyway. I don't like to call it Bigfoot because we're in England. And but it's like but you do get marked, but whether there's some quality to you to start off with, it just has to wait until you're ready, and then you open up, and then you become marked, or whether you're already marked, but you just have to be ready to accept it. And so it's sort of like always there. I'm not 100% sure, because like I say, when you do ask people throughout their history, even if they weren't interested in the paranormal to start off with, they've always got something when they were younger. So it's sort of like, but I think a lot of it's like I think it's just when you reach a certain point and you're ready to accept whatever it is. I think it, like you say, it starts to show itself. And then if you show that you've seen it and you work to understand it, I think it shows itself to you more. Because I mean, I found out with this thing in the woods. I mean, I've always been terrified of Bigfoot since I was little. Wow. I saw a documentary, like a bit of a documentary, and I was like 5. My parents were watching it, frightened the life out of me. And it was only about 2020 I started listening to all the paranormal podcasts, and most of them were American, and they just started talking about Bigfoot, and I slowly got kind of used to the idea. And then about a year or 2 later, that's when I saw whatever I did in the woods. And then that again terrified me. Didn't go in the woods for another year or 2. And then went back into the woods because thinking, it's literally like 15 minutes walk away from me. This is stupid. I'm going into the woods. Then I started seeing structures. And I'd literally the day before watched the Bigfoot documentary where it mentioned structures. I knew nothing about it until that point. And I was like, the coincidence of this is just, you just, like you say, you can't put it down as a coincidence. It's just too much together at once.
Absolutely.
And so then I've had a slow burn for the last couple of years since that, and then in the last I'd say 6 months or so from it, I seem to be getting a lot more. They're showing themselves a little bit more to me. Like I say, I don't know what they are. I don't like to call them Bigfoot because I've not actually seen anything, but I have seen things go behind trees,
right?
But I see like an outline now, so not an actual figure. So I don't know if that's what they are or whether they're like wood spirits or something. But I've had the structures and the anomalies on the photos, and so it's sort of I'm thinking, well, maybe I'm just not ready to actually see anything. But it's like, but I do think some of us have like pathways in our brain or something that just need to be ready, and it's not like we get marked, we already are able to, but it's just perhaps a readiness, and then that does open us up and they recognize it. Maybe I'm not sure, because I find this a lot actually. If you talk to I don't know if you found this, if you talk to a non-paranormal person about paranormal stuff, straight over the head, and it's like they can't remember the conversation. It's like you never had that conversation, or they literally can't see you in front of them. And then the paranormal people were like, oh yeah, blah 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 blah, and it's like you were seen as a person, but I could walk through a room and not be seen. And it's like, but certain people will say, how could somebody not see you? And I think that's the same kind of phenomenon with these kinds of things. It's like, I think if you're not resonating on a similar sort of frequency to them or able to tune into it somehow, that you literally can't see them. And I think that's why skeptics don't see paranormal phenomenon.
That's right.
It's like they literally they can't, because whatever it is shut, and until that opens up. Are
you guys familiar with remote viewing?
I'm aware of it. I've never tried it though.
Okay. Well, so here's the thing. So I'm no expert in it goes, but again, if my dad verified to me in the 80s that the CIA had developed this program, and you can Google that now. It is a real thing, and it's a skill. And I do think there's some paranormal, supernatural stuff, but at its heart, it's one of those abilities that we have. And I've got 2 degrees in communication, interpersonal communication. So I want to qualify this. I'm not just pulling this out of anywhere. I have taught this before. We are capable of so much more, and we shut it down because we're all being conditioned by these and by society and by the puppet masters and all that stuff. But remote viewing is a skill almost anybody can do, because every thought has an emotion behind it, and emotions are transcendent. You guys have all walked into a room and known if it was a good room or a bad room without hearing anything that went on previously. I use, as a sports guy, home field advantage is a documented thing. But why? Field's the same, ball's the same, game's the same, ref's the same. Nothing's changed except for that collective negativity, or at least that connective will for you to lose and the home team to win. But it is out there and you can feel it.
Yeah, that's a fair
Relate to
point.
it. I used to teach a speech and communication class, and I would teach these kids to remote view things. It's basically, we won't try it now, but I don't mind sometime. I've done this a lot. Like if I'm looking, if one of you guys was looking at a picture on your phone, and shared that with each other. I don't know how it would work over the internet, but I can, a lot of times I'm really good getting the shapes and the colors and the general aspects of it. And it's not supernatural. It's a physical thing. It's a physical thing that we can all learn some better than others. There's so much, that's a long way of saying there's so much of that out there. And these skeptics, when you close that door, don't come at me like that, because you physically cannot. You're putting yourself in a position where you're not going to. And maybe that keeps you. I think a lot of them know at their heart. I think they're just not where they need to be intrapersonally within themselves, that they're ready to accept that. And my father was a great example. He's my best friend. He's my greatest role model. But he lived a large part of his life where he just didn't want to be open to it until it finally smacked him in the face as well. So. Yeah.
No, I think you're right. It's like with telepathy as well. It's like, when people say telepathy doesn't exist, and I'm just like, really? It's like, I mean, I've had communication from animals, and things like that. And it's like I went shopping once, and I kept getting this image of a black and white cow in my head. And I was walking around the supermarket going, why the hell am I thinking about this random cow? Got home, and my friend that I was sharing a house with at the time was like, did you get the milk I was trying to send you? And I was like, well, why did you send me a picture of a cow instead of a milk bottle? And I was just like...
Exactly right. Exactly right. Exactly right.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
Yeah.
But I just, like I say, I mean, I didn't go, oh my God, you're influencing my brain.
Yeah.
And it's like, but it was just like, whoa, that's so cool.
Yeah.
And it's like,
that's a great example.
Yeah, I didn't know. It didn't know that's what she was doing. It wasn't an experiment. I just literally didn't know. But yeah. So yeah,
that's why a lot of it is very abstract. You saw the cow, but she was meaning milk.
And my brain interpreted it as a cow.
And like it's very abstract. Like a lot of the when you're doing paranormal, you get a lot of communication, but it's almost like we've spoken about this before, Natalie, where it's like one single words that come back. And they don't actually make sense until you maybe step out of the room and go somewhere into another room, and it'd be mentioning window, and then you see the window, or you see the door. It mentioned the door, wood and door, or I think you should back up. And I think something like that. It's very abstract. It doesn't make sense at the moment. It's almost like it's one step ahead of what we're comprehending,
Exactly right.
I mean, with forest structures, you sent me a few photos which are very interesting. These forest structures, I'll put a couple of these up. Let's put a few of these up. Okay, now that absolutely bang on. Now I feel that they are a lot of people say that they're boundary markers. I don't think they are. I believe they are like the crosshairs in a gun sight. I think if you were to follow where the X is in the middle and follow in that direction, it leads you on to more stuff.
Okay, so this is the thing that fascinates me the most with this. And Charlie started showing me this stuff. And I think the woods are their resources for artwork, communication, weaponry, supposedly tools. We have so much at our disposal. We don't understand. This is what they have, and I am trying to put my mind around what these things are. I think a lot of the stuff is juveniles. But I think I don't mess with these things or take these things, because I think there could be some sacred properties or some meaningful properties. We'll go to places and find that they're gone. What was interesting about this one, and I'll just give some people, if you're around LBL, I find up on the high ridges, and I've got a group, Randy Brooks is on here, Mark Roberts, Kim Brooks. They've been out with me. We purposely go to areas to try to see, is this stuff everywhere or is it just in certain locales? And it's not everywhere. You get up on these high ridges, there's almost like nursery areas, and you will find things that a child might have made. They don't have a rhyme or reason, but they're woven together intricately. You know they haven't fallen there or just it's not happenstance. And then you find the larger, more organized ones. What was interesting about this, that X was that seemed to be when we went past that, we went to that covert you saw us throwing. I feel like that was stating, keep on this side of it. This is where the hunting grounds are. This is where the connecting, there was a hollow down between, you got ridges and then you've got hollows right through there. Kind of like you're saying, Phil, I've never thought about this. If you wanted to not hit a dead end when you were going through the woods and have to cross the road, you would follow where these crosshairs are pointing, because that would get you another 3 miles of being unseen.
Yeah.
That is a really good observation that I have never made. I've always thought they were marking something. They're obviously marking and denoting something.
I only noticed it because I was in a woods, famous wood over here called Pluckley Wood, and there was an awful lot of structures, a very dense part, and I tend to keep away from where the population goes. I tend to keep in the more sort of quieter parts of the woods which are more awkward to walk through. And I noticed in this wood that there was a lot of X's, and I thought, well, I looked at the crosshairs, the intersection, and I thought, very much like a woman does, a lady does. Women think more laterally, as it is. They don't come up with the flaffle and muddle that men have in their head usually, and complicate things. I thought laterally. I thought, okay, I'm going to follow where that crosshair is, where the intersection is. I'm just going to follow in that direction. Do you know what, Mike? It led me onto other structures. I got it all on video. It led me onto other structures, the TP structures, and then from there was another X. And these X's, I agree with you, they are not something which kids would make.
No.
I can't ever remember. I'm sort of like 59. Okay, I know I don't look it. I know that, but I don't remember ever. I remember going out in the woods with my mates up where there's a woods nearby where we lived in Greenford called Horsenden Hill, and it was different days. There was no sort of the most we had to deal with was like kind of mum would always say, "Oh, Phil, we've got to be careful of flashers." And that would be about it in the woods. There'd be nothing like, sort of the deviance you have nowadays, it would be just like a bloke in a Mac showing us. And then that would be about it. But there was structures even then, but we never gave it a second thought as kids, but we certainly never mimicked them. We never made any. We'd make dens. We'd kind of like make like we tried making the tree house, but that ended dreadfully with me falling out. But, that's the type of thing we used to do. But making these X's, no, we didn't do it. Making these TP structures, that's what I try and say to people. Look, when you look at the branches used, they're all deadfall branches. Not one of them have been cut with a bow saw. There's not any evidence of a spud being used to deburr the branches, and they're all kind of like quite mossy. And so it's taken, put it this way, if it was kids, it would take them hours and backbreaking to scour the forest floor, to pick up all these branches, to then interweave them into these structures.
Yeah.
And then even then, there'd be absolute rubbish as a bushcraft shelter because there's no wind protection, there's no rain protection, there's never ever any evidence of any ferns or clay or mud put over the top, compact it.
Right.
So when people say, "Oh no, kids make that," I go, hang on. If kids make it, why? Because I certainly wouldn't.
Yeah. You're right.
So,
you're right. Yeah.
Right, let's have a look. You've got hang on, this is an interesting one.
That's my favorite one. It was at the bottom of a tree that had been broken. And this is neat. This is interesting. I feel like there was an adult making a larger purposeful marker, and then there might have been a younger Sasquatch, Bigfoot, with them doing something like this. This is perfectly symmetrical. It's like a star. It's gone now. They've taken it away. This is in one of my best areas where they seem to just, I don't know if it's a nursery area or just a rest area or a home. I tell you what, Daryl Denton, who's going to be in the documentary, great guy, very knowledgeable. When I met him, I was starting to talk to him about this area, and he started to ask me, does it have this? Does it have this? Does it have this? I already had pictures of that stuff. He didn't know that. And I immediately knew. I was like, all right, this guy knows what he's talking about. And but yeah, I love that. I'm going to make a poster out of that one day, I tell you. And I think Kim and Randy were with me, and I think they have actually seen it up close. So it's better in person. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. There's Randy right there. All right, nice. Yeah, and we've got a wreath on here. I think I sent you the wreath. There's like an arch and a woven wreath. That's right up there with my faves too. There's a. That's just now see, that's up on a high ridge, and it's just an interwoven, and again, they're not cut. They're either broken. There's the wreath right there. Really cool, really. And there's a story behind that. We were in there because I was fishing in a little spot, and my girl smelled something going into this little cove and asked me if it could be Bigfoot. And I said, well, we're actually close to our spot where we've had sightings. And my wife, out of the blue, just says out loud to the world, come on, Bigfoot, just come out here and show yourself closer to me than 100 yards away. Just let me see you. A tree got pushed over immediately. So we hiked in there the next weekend, and we found the source of all the smells. There was a predated upon. There's a deer carcass, a pig carcass. There was a turtle nest had been dug out, and the eggs were strewn everywhere where they had been eaten. And then the place was littered with clearly woven vine artwork. And I'm telling you, there's no chance this was human. We had to walk over 2 miles, probably close to 3 miles from the gravel road just to get to this spot. Yep.
No, that's a good one because it just doesn't. It wouldn't make any sense, even if it was. Do you ever come across any witchcraft sticks and structures?
Well, not in the last few years, but early on in my experience as a local inland between the lakes, I'm trying to Randy's comment there. So there's another one. Yeah, that was in the vampire witchcraft, late 80s, early 90s. That was the height of, and yes, we have found, I found animals that have apparently been sacrificed, the burnt candles, the stick figures. I think the Blair Witch the movie here, I don't know if you guys have seen it, that kind of popularized. Nothing like that. But now I dated for over a year an actual real practicing Wiccan. So I have some familiarity with what's authentic, and at least people trying to do these rituals in an
Yeah.
authentic manner, and then just the movie type stuff. I
Yeah.
haven't found it, but I tell you what, I'll go looking for it either. And that's, but
She
not in
didn't
the
try
last,
she didn't try and sacrifice you, did she?
not that I'm aware of. She failed. But I tell you what, I tried to spell one time, and I got tunnel vision, and I got like that deep bass sound. And this was before I was baptized and before I was a Christian. And I stopped it because everything about it was wrong. I remember the spell. I still got the book, and I'm thinking it was going to make me some money. And it was basically, under the right moon conditions, you take a mirror, you say this incantation into it, you bury it upside down on a well-traveled crossroad, you wait 30 days, the next same moon conditions, bury it. Or you dig it up. If a black cat is the first thing to look into this mirror, from then on, whatever you wish into the mirror manifest in real life. And I'm thinking, I'm 19 years old. Why isn't everybody trying this? This is the simplest thing. I happen to own 80 acres, or my dad did. I've got a black cat. I've got a crossroads. I know the moon cycles. Let's do this. And I'm actually trying to say this. And as I'm doing it, tunnel vision. I remember I'm in the room, small attic. I had the whole attic to myself. And I just said, this is not right. I didn't know what was right at the time, but everything about that. And that's the last time I've touched, looked at, thought about. Not my path. Clearly not my path to walk.
No, I can relate to that. Yeah, no, it's definitely not mine either. I can understand why people do it. But no, it's not mine. It's not my path either. No. My Lord and your Lord work in a different way. God works in a different way. It's not so. It's more behind the scenes. Let's put it that way.
That's right.
But
That's right.
it's with things like witchcraft now, it's a lot more obvious.
Yeah.
Can be a lot more productive.
Yeah.
Instantly for them.
Correct.
But the cost is far too great, and ultimately,
absolutely,
there's the price you pay, because there's always a price to pay, is too great. Whereas Lord God Almighty, there's no price to pay except love.
You got it. That's exactly right.
So that's my take. But
Phil, can you expand the picture a little bit?
Oh, this one.
Yeah,
that's
I'm just looking at facing it, the left-hand bottom quadrant.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Hang on. I can do that for you. No problem, madam. Let's have a look.
Sorry, it's not very. This is why I look a bit weird. It's like I'm trying to see closely.
Okay, let me take this one off then.
It's just It's just a curiosity.
Yeah, let me remove that
I'm
one.
seeing it or not.
Okay, I'm going to put us onto this frame here. Let's move like that. That's better. Right, now what I'll do, I'll get us on. What are you laughing about?
Honestly, that's all right. I'm suddenly seeing my face in full on.
Just
it's a bit too close to camera now.
Golden goddess. Yeah, she's a golden goddess. Yeah, tell her she's a golden goddess. She loves it. Right. Okay. This is it. Wish is my command. Here we go.
Thank you.
Right. Okay. Now I can make it bigger.
If I point it at the camera, that right, where the little arrow is now, where your hand is there, is that an X?
You want that widened out?
No, to the other way. There, is that an X?
Oh, here?
Possibly. Yeah, possibly.
I'm only saying because your other wreath had those two cross sticks in it as well, and it was catching my eye, and I just wondered
We find those.
because
We find those.
it's perhaps a
Yeah.
little bit sort of dodgy, but it's like the other reef you've got. There was a stick and another
Mhm.
stick laid across the reef.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I wondered if whether it was a coincidence, whether there was a reef and two little tiny cross sticks, whether it could mean something. But I'm not 100% sure from seeing that close up of it.
I don't know.
Very elaborate. Some of these structures
Mm.
are so elaborate. It's
Mhm.
like, my word,
Yep.
now you did get some you have got some footprints as well.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I can almost, and I'll probably never find another one now, but I've got some areas where I can almost guarantee some prints. They're just there. And that was one of the good. I mean, you can see the toe. You can see the toes up in that one. I think that's the one. Like I say, I'm pretty sure this is the one. Randy's on here. I put this on Facebook. And again, I don't want to sound outside myself. When I first started, I would measure and document everything. I don't even want to take my backpack off now and put a ruler down because I know what they are. I've seen them. I know what's doing it. And I put this on Facebook, and Randy's like, "Hey, we're gonna go cast that. I'll meet you tomorrow." Like, he basically forced me to, and I don't cast them because they don't turn out like I want the real good movie quality cast, and they don't. And I just like looking at the print. I can tell right there. Like I say, I can see the toes. It's awesome.
Yeah.
But we do have a casting of this one.
It's very. I think trying to find them is trying to capture them is very hard. And I think the technology that we use doesn't allow us, or it could be that it does take a capture. And very, very, when we see a slight blur and it's not well defined, the photo isn't, or the video is not very well defined. I think it could be that maybe it's taken it absolutely spot on. It's just our minds are not able to define it because it's a type of entity which possibly, like you say, is from another time or dimension. And we can't comprehend that, even on video, even on still photos. So maybe the technology is taking it, or maybe the frame rate is wrong and it's not taking it. Maybe we're 35 frames per second. Maybe this is running at 36 frames per second.
Yeah. Oh, you're right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah, it's a tricky one. You've had you sent a couple of sketches in. Can I put these up?
Yeah.
What
Oh,
what
man.
happened there?
I tell you what, this is the freshest one, and this experience again with Martin Groves and Ray was there, and it's actually harkened me all the way back. I haven't given Barton Nunley enough credit locally. We've talked very little about Dogman. When I was coaching a soccer team, a girls soccer team in Tree County, Cadiz, Kentucky, right there bordering Land Between the Lakes. And in Wrangler's Camp is a huge horse camp and one of my players was into horses, was there almost every weekend. And people come from all over, all year round to be at this camp. And for whatever reason, there's a lot of Dogman sightings in this area. And in one of my first, so this would have been 2007 or 8, it was 2008. I walk by these kids and I hear them say, somebody saw a werewolf. A girl's horse went off trail. She wanted to run it in the field, and she saw a Dogman and stood up and thanked the Lord, looked at her and walked away and growled, but she was traumatized enough that she told everybody. And so it wasn't my player, it was a friend of hers. I overheard this and got curious enough, and that's when I first learned Barton Nunley pretty much, I don't know if he coined the term Dogman, but as far as the massacre and the Beast of LBL and all that stuff, he brought that to light in a movie, Hunt the Dogman, and then did a famous sketch of what is lurking. And and I love it because I've always been been a sketch artist guy. So he did this sketch and that made the rounds locally, some radio stations, people steal it. And but I was looking at that. So fast forward now to January 17th, Martin Groves and Big Ray and I had a Dogman and Sasquatch, just a totally combined down the rabbit hole. I think there was a government kill team doing some stuff. Just a story. I put a little blurb on my actual Facebook about it, and I decided to pull a Barton Nunley and start sketching this stuff. As we were leaving, we had already had some dogmen growling at us, circling the camp, knocking, throwing stuff at us, and it was really dry, and we had a campfire. This was all leaves and fields, and I'm a former fire and rescue member. There's no way I'm going to burn down the woods. I mean, I literally, and I tell people, I don't advocate for carrying a firearm openly. I don't never advocate for shooting a Bigfoot or any of these things. I had my hand on my gun in my pocket and in getting water bottles trying to get this fire out, because the creek that I wanted to get water out of, and there was a big metal pot that I might have gotten some dirt and was going to bury, was now where we think these dogmen were. And they're growling at us. We can hear it. We all three heard it. And so I'm like, I'm not going to go get myself killed, but I'm not going to burn down the forest. Luckily, a truck was coming up this little road, and in the lights, and that's why I've drawn it like that, as we're almost ready to leave, we saw this creature that was standing on the road. It got caught in the lights, and it ran into the cedar thicket that these other two creatures were in. I drew this from Martin's perspective. Martin saw the whole thing. Ray heard it, didn't see it. I was a little to the left of that tree. I saw its head, shoulder, and back leg as it ran by. So I drew this from Martin's perspective. He saw the whole figure, but I think it was, I mean, we heard, I tell you what I used on my Facebook. We had heard the growls earlier, the screams. I'm sure y'all are familiar with American Werewolf in London, the movie.
Yeah.
When they're out on the moors at the beginning of that movie and you hear that god-awful scream, that's the closest thing. It was a little different. That's the closest thing. The coyotes started behind us, what would be behind, across the road in the field behind this creature. The coyotes started howling. And then in front of us in this cedar thicket, which would be to the left in that picture, you hear this, whoa, just, I mean, frightening twice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we had been hearing shots and things. So this, right before that, this is what prompted me to go get my firearm and suggest we get out of here. That's the campfire down in the left. I saw a mist form into a shape of what I can as close as I can approximate a dogman, and it disappeared right into that cedar tree.
It disappeared into the
tree. It disappeared, and then when Martin had been watching stuff, we didn't want to scare Ray. I don't know if Ray's on here now. Ray's huge, big guy, but the nicest guy, like most big guys are. I'm sure he's tough enough. I know he is, but that's not his go-to. He looks intimidating, but he's a really nice guy. And those coyotes started, and he's like, guys, he was kind of questioning the coyotes. And then we didn't want to scare him. But right after I see this, I look at Martin, and Martin said, guys, I can see it. It's walking. It's right there. And I said, okay, I just think I saw one show itself and disappear into the tree. And then about that time, you hear and you hear the walking, and I went, and good thing Martin told me, he said, I was in a hurry. Luckily we were so close. I think what saved us was we were so close to our vehicles. And I mean, I'm talking 10 steps away. And Martin said, hey, Mike, don't slow down. Don't panic. Just go up there. I know what you're doing. And so I got my gun, chambered it, put it in my pocket. I said, guys, we got to get out of here.
Yeah.
And we start putting out the fire and gathering up water, and one threw something. It hit the side of, because Martin had just said they hate light. They really hate light. They hate if you put your head. I don't care if it's red, green, or whatever. If you're showing light in the woods, they know you're there. You're scaring them off. But Ray had this huge flashlight, one of those new ones. I think you were talking about it. It would light up an acre, and Ray didn't hear it, but something hit Martin's car, and Martin's like, "Hey, Ray, will you light this up for me? I lost something. I forget." And that backed it off enough for them to get in their vehicles, and we got out of there, man. But this is something that has changed, and I don't like it. I like the Bigfoot stuff. I don't like this stuff, man. This Dogman stuff, that's a whole different thing. A whole different
thing. It is. It's completely different. I've only come across Bigfoot in this country once. Got it on video. It's from a distance. And it threw something which was very I thought first of all it was a bird coming up from the brush that had hit the light and it was just reflecting. I did notice now I was with the grandson at the time. Now he was about how old was he now? We were both camping, and I think he was only about 12, I think, coming up to 13 at the time. And he kept saying to me, he said, Phil, he said, I can hear growling. I can hear this like sort of growling noise. And I was like, and my hearing's not that great, you know. I've got tinnitus in one ear, which is just happened. Have you got the same?
In both ears since I've been 15 years old. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's annoying, isn't it? It's like kind of, you know, and it goes a little bit. It's always there, but it goes a little bit, and then it gets louder, and it's just like, oh, so annoying. And it's a hard noise to describe as well, and it's like a sort of a rushing, water rushing, but not like electrical, so almost like static on a TV, a white noise type.
If you could combine water, electricity, and crickets chirping, you got something.
You've got it. Yeah, that's exactly right, isn't it? And I was so I couldn't hear. He said, you know, he was spot on. He's sharp as a pin when it comes to sort of sound and eyesight. And he said, no, it definitely is something. He said, there's something growling. And I was like, what? And then I saw this silver thing come up from the brush, and almost like a bird coming up. And in the distance, between two trees, was a huge black shadow. I thought it was a shadow.
Yeah.
Anyway, I went over the footage, and luckily I've got like Carpenter used to have, bless him, rest in peace. I've got a back cam as well, always running. And I'd recommend to anyone investigating, always put a back cam on as well, you know, and just have it run it. And I looked at the footage, and Mike, you could see that this shadow thing wasn't a shadow thing. It was in relation to a tree, must have been close on about 15 foot in height. Wow. Must have been at a distance. When you look up, you know, at the tree, and I went up close to the tree and thought, well, okay, in relation to how I saw it, it must have been way up there. Wow. And this thing was huge. Yeah. And it threw something on video. When you slow it down, that thing, which I thought was a bird and it reflected light, it wasn't. It was this thing throwing something that looked sort of silverish, and it threw it towards us. Like, get out of here. That type of thing. Then on video, you can see it turn, and it lifting its left leg, lifting its knee up and swiveling on one foot, and then turning and going.
That's great.
I thought, damn, and that was not a Dogman. That was definitely a Bigfoot. And that was at the Cannock Chase.
Man.
But ordinarily, it's very quiet as well. When you see a Bigfoot, it just goes deathly quiet, doesn't it? A bubble of silence you walk into. With Dogman, it's something slightly different. It's kind of a bit more chaos, if you like.
Yes, that's right.
A lot of creatures know that when there's a Dogman around, they know, and they get agitated, get very, very agitated. And with Dogman, I do believe that there's 3 different types, and I think a lot of the archetypal AI types we see with the broad shoulders and a muscular physique, and it's in a diamond shape and small waist, massive, big, heavy, muscular legs. They're like kind of the soldiers they're kind of like the and I think they're the if you like, the soldiers of Earth. They're the
Okay.
protectors. That's what I believe anyway. I
Okay.
think they're 100% natural.
Yeah.
But once again, it's all kind of like speculation with high insight. I'm using speculation, but also with a lot of, boots on the ground research, which I've done, which you have to kind of like piece together, because these things are so kind of just, they're all of it is kind of woo woo, isn't it? It's still out there.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. Yep.
But people see them. We've seen them.
I know.
And I know I'm not mad. People say I'm mad, but I know I'm not mad. And when I've seen them, I've seen them,
Oh yes. Yeah. And you get that comfort level. Like I don't want to sound arrogant. I'm to the point now. I'm trying to help you. If people are listening, I'm trying to help you. If you don't believe me, cool. You want to think I'm crazy? Cool. I know what I'm thinking. That's why I've got some video. I've got some pictures. I don't even feel the need to post it. Just you can believe me or not, but it's I don't know if it's a blessing or a curse to be to that point, but to have that confidence, like I say, it's a knower. I learned that real quick. Are you a skeptic, a believer, or then are you a knower? And
yeah,
I know.
Yeah. No, that's completely right. Yeah, I think that's completely right. We got a guy over in this country which runs a TV show and stuff. He's a paranormal guy, and he always he's got two camps, only two camps, either team believer or team skeptic.
Right.
And I think that's so wrong.
Right.
I think that's so wrong, because the team skeptic, you've only got to be team skeptic on one event, and so you don't lose face. You have to be team skeptic all the way through, because that moment you say, actually, that one, I do think it is something. It's at that point that all your previous decisions on being skeptic are blown out of the water.
That's right.
So I think that camp, in the middle, where you kind of, team experiencer. Team experiencer, definitely has its own place.
Yeah.
So I think that's quite right. Okay, look, it's coming up to 2 hours. If you could stay on though, that's
I got
fine.
you. I got you for a little. This is fun. I did not know till I just looked at the clock.
I was going to say, time flies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Nayfair's got a question. Why would these beings alert humans to their presence?
Well,
with the structures. Sorry.
Okay, so I don't know that they're meaning for people to know that there's their structures. I don't doubt it. Like I've had a couple structures placed, I think, and Daryl told me they leaned a big tree over, and I was going to this area, I mean, multiple times a week, and they leaned a tree, and he said, okay, that's telling you that they are okay with where you are. You don't go on the other side. And to this day, I have not been over there out of respect. And I had seen one up on a ridge there, consequently just kind of look at me and walk away. He even went one further. Daryl was like, did you find a small piece of wood with all the bark missing from it near there? I said, well, yes, I did. He said, that's the marker for their juveniles to know that they can go to that boundary, but they can't go any further. Outside of those, and that was once I intruded in their thing, I don't think these structures are meant for us at all. And I think they're very well hidden. I think most people don't notice them. I think that's part of the mystique of them. Are they tree fall? You got to get real close to them to realize they're not, with the exception of the large, the teepees, the stuff, in the Pacific Northwest, we get a ton of this stuff. It's a lot bigger than what we have here. But of course, the trees and the foliage is all bigger as well. I in general think we are their entertainment. I think they are aware of us. I think they do watch us, and I think sometimes they might mess with us, prank us, poke fun at us. So there are instances where I think they want to interact with us, but in general, I don't think they do. I think it's just happenstance that we're sharing the same area. And if we choose to believe and know that these are made by some other creature on purpose, with a purpose, not for us. That's on us. Most hikers, I did for years. I'm a hiker. I'm a fisherman, and when the fish aren't biting, I like to get to the top of a hill. I like to cover ground. Um,
Mm.
there's no telling how much stuff I've walked by when I was blind to it. So I
Yeah.
don't know if that answers your question, but thank you for asking it.
Thank you, Nayfair. Appreciate that. Randy Brooks, 5411, said, Mike, maybe you should share your story on Lindsay Raymond commenting on your shower. What's going on there? Mike, what's going on?
He wants me to do my British accent. That's what he wants me to do. Lovely lady, Charlie Raymond's wife. I don't know where in England she's from, and then she moved to Canada, and now she's here in Kentucky. Love her to death. So I'm a shower guy. So I take a big metal pail, fill it with water, and then inside it a smaller pail that I have drilled small holes in the pattern of a shower head on, and I'll put that by a fire. And when it gets to the right temperature, when you pull that bucket up, I can get a good 4-minute shower out of one big bucket of water when I'm out in the woods. And so when I'm out by myself, I don't even put a curtain up. But we were camping in a public area with a lot of people, so I took a couple hula hoops and put a shower curtain around it. And then you can take this bucket inside the shower curtain and you can hang it on the tree on the hook, and my family can take a shower. Lindsay comes up to our camp. Now she's in style. She's got an RV camper trailer. So I'm roughing it still, but she comes up and no, I'm not, she's like, what, is this your shower here? And she's going to get mad at me. I said, yeah, that is so, and then she looks and she can't see a hose, and she goes, well, where does the water come from? She didn't figure out it's the cutest thing. And I had to explain to her the bucket thing because they weren't in there. So she's just looking at this shower curtain with no water in it. Honest question. But now we still, when my wife and I, and Randy too, when something is unexplained or we don't know, we do to ourselves, and I don't know if Lindsay's listening, but it's all out of love. We'll go, well, where does the water come from? So, thank you, Randy. Thank you for that.
Yeah. I think she was either from somewhere like Knightsbridge or Windsor. Probably.
I don't know if I accurately portrayed that, but I'll ask her. But we love her. She's great.
Oh, you use a bucket, do you, Mike?
It's funny how your mind kind of gets these blank spots every so often, doesn't it? When you see something that's not quite what you expect, and your brain just like comes to these very strange conclusions sometimes.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. Yeah. No, I just that's quite funny though, I must admit.
Yeah.
It's quite funny. That's a good idea for a shower though.
It works. It works. I have to, I just have to, and I actually for spiritual reasons, I've always had a high stress job. And it just seems like I don't care if I'm dirty or not, or even use soap sometimes. At night, I'm probably going to let hot water just run over me for the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual aspects. I'm just cleaning it all off before I try to get to some solace and some sleep. So whether I'm in the woods or at home, I've got to do it.
Yeah, I agree. My light just went. Yeah, I agree with you. I tend to, I don't like the idea of going to, I'm not a shower in the morning guy. I'm a shower in the evening, for bed.
Yeah.
I usually have a shower and then hop into bed. I don't kind of, in the morning, I just sort of get up, go and out, know, I sort of, I'll put the other light on. Right. Okay. Let's take that one off. Sorry about it. My light's sort of, oh, wait a minute. There we go. I'm still here. Yeah. Right, let's put that one on.
We had mic problems last week. Now we've got light problems.
Oh, do you know it's the entities? That's what it is. It's the entities.
I was going to say, I think you've got someone messing with you there, haven't you?
Yeah.
I will tell you. I will tell you. I don't know how weird this sounds, but I took the lampshade off my lights here because I thought it was a little dull. And I went and made sure I had extra bulbs because I just felt like when I was dealing with that bulb, a light was going to go out. Now I don't know if I was picking up on something. I've got the bulb right over here. They're right over here, ready to go. I wanted to make sure because I just had that bulb going out feeling.
No way.
Have to put in the post for us
Oh,
so
yeah.
he can sail it over to the UK to change his bulb.
Yeah, no, hold on. You got up. Watch this. Watch this. You got up. Bill, hold on, buddy. Yeah.
Oh, hello, Daniel.
Right here. Pack of light bulbs right here, ready to go.
Oh, what the? Honestly.
Yeah.
Daniel Williams. Hello, Daniel from the Wrangler groups. I wonder if they make fun of our accents. I wonder if they make fun of our accents.
I tell you what, I don't want to name drop because I don't know these people really well, but they did publicly share this at an event recently. I heard what two very trustworthy, credible people, and Martin Groves, my friend, is good friends with them. What two very credible people played on tape as a Sasquatch speaking English. And I heard it, several people, everybody there heard it, and it blew me away. And so I'm thinking,
So, Martin,
We can't
your
hear.
microphone. Your microphone's gone.
We can't hear you.
Your microphone. Can't hear. Your mic. I can't hear you. No, your microphone's gone. Oh, hang on a minute. Honestly, let me check. See, I had an idea. That's why I bought a spare microphone. I had an idea. Your mic. Yeah. How are you? How are you with sign language? But don't sign what I think you're going to sign, okay? Your mic went.
I think it's 2 hours. He needs to go.
All right. I'll tell you what.
I wonder. It's
Let me
like
just
we're
check
cutting you off.
do that. Right, it sounds wrong, doesn't it? But yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah, 480p. Sound. Yeah, his mic's on here. Not sure, Mike. Okay.
Oh dear. You know when we
Okay.
always say, like, I think was it Keith said the other a couple of weeks ago that they have a sense of humour. I think we're being messed. I'm starting to think we're being messed with.
Well, isn't it odd that my light goes? What's the
Yeah.
chances of my light going and then his microphone's gone? I mean, it's a bit. What?
I mean, he did say he'd only got a couple of hours. We've just gone over, so it's like maybe it's sort of like, you know, time out.
Yeah, maybe.
Mike was being abducted. Put Randy's comment up. His last comment.
Mike has been abducted.
Oh, dear. No, well, that's the first.
Yeah.
Video,
Well,
isn't it?
I hope
It's
he
like,
comes back again so he can tell us about it.
yeah. It's like breaking news.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, watch this space. Breaking news. Yeah, we're the first to
Interviewee
tell it. He was
abducted
abducted.
by Bigfoot halfway through show.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, that's like live on air abduction. That's what we want.
Oh, bless him.
Yeah, he should have borrowed my light, and then the light would have gone out, and his microphone, and then
I
poof.
was going to say, if that had happened literally all at the same time, and I'd have been, we'd be sitting there with you in the dark, and we just sort of like looking around, going, "Where is everybody?"
I tell you what, if I was you, I'd be quite scared, Natalie. What's going to happen to you?
See, I've got my candle burning here, so
Oh, you go just in case.
yeah. I thought I'm going full out today.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Okay, we go. Phil, just because I hate you. No, you're still abducted. They've still taken your voice. No idea. All right. Listen, Nathan, is the communication between the Cherokee,
Cherokee.
sorry, and the Sasquatch or with Dogman? Is the communication between the Cherokee and the Sasquatch?
They were
with the
talking
Dogman?
earlier about the I don't know if you scroll up the comments a little way, about, I think Randy said that the Cherokee trained Richard, I can't see now, Richard McIndish, that the symbols are called wood talk and that it is the communication between them. So I think that question's in relation to that comment.
Okay.
Whether the sticks and the reeds and everything are communications between the Cherokee and the Sasquatch, or it's probably the Sasquatch, isn't it?
Right, yeah. I took it to mean communication amongst us.
So.
Okay.
It makes more sense from what you're saying about the way Dogman operates. I can't imagine.
Yeah.
They'd be.
No.
No.
Oh man. No worries. Hang on. All right. I'll tell you what we're going to do, guys. I'm going to give a quick read through who was on the comments. There is a lot. Okay, right. Get ready for this. All right, Mike. Have a look on your settings, bottom right hand side. If you got Windows, click on that. Okay, and then it'll bring up another window, and you'll see a slide bar. And that slide bar is your volume. But click the arrow. And on the arrow, you'll see what microphone you're using. See what I mean? It will tell you what microphone that your PC is using. Okay, if it's an internal one, the default one, or if you're using a separate one on your webcam. Might be that. Right, okay. Quickly on the comments, I'm just going to give a shout out to people. Keith Ashton, hello. Thank you very much for being here. Kate, of course, thank you very much for moderating. Keith, thank you for moderating. Do appreciate that. We've got Drew Hollings. Hello, Drew Hollings. Ready, Steady, Retro. We've got Milo K9 MWD. Hello, Milo K9. I bet you're a dog lover. Drew Hollings, hey Sasquatch sister, hello Dawn, thank you very much for moderating and great to see you on the Patreon. We've got Roxy admin, hello Roxy, thank you for doing all the admin work in the background. Larry Luttrell, I hope you're keeping okay, brother. Thank you for being here, Larry. We have got Revered Wolf VIP. Hello, Revered Wolf VIP. Thank you very much for joining us and being here. Much appreciated. We've got loads of people actually. We've got one strange one called Goldfish Paranormal.
Oh, the Goldfish Paranormal again. Gosh.
Yeah, I know she's on. She's all constantly on.
She's terrible, isn't she?
Yeah, like a rash. Right, we've got Keith Ashton, we've got Tobias. Hello, Tobias. Thank you very much for being on. ORD 3448. Hello, thank you for being on. Good to see you here. Keith Ashton, Daniel Williams. Hello, Daniel. Great you could make it, brother. Nayfair, of course, Nayfair, thank you very much. And thank you for your questions. Oh, hang on, I've got one here. Isn't the electromagnetic force one of the four fundamental forces of the universe? We are electrical beings. I see that. Yeah, electromagnetic force in the form of plasma. That's the fourth state of matter. Nayfair. Which I think a lot of things are. Right, okay, what we're going to do, all right, we're going to wrap it now, okay, Mike, and then I'll just communicate with you. I want to thank everyone that's been, I'm sorry I couldn't read all of the comments because Vandy Brooks as well, thank you for being on. Guys, thank you. It's been a great show, with a few paranormal hiccups, I think, has been happening here, but do appreciate everyone's time. And listen, Mike is a superb bloke.
Thank
Lovely
you,
guy,
Mike.
you know. And you know, I speak on his behalf when he says, you know, thank you to everyone that's been on in the comments. God bless you all. And it's just been great, really has. And other than that, thank you very much.